Hello and welcome to episode 230 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can follow me on Twitter at AndrewRP. Join me as always is the luxuriously smooth League Freak. You can find on Twitter at League Freak. How you going there, mate?
I'm going really well. Andrew, how are you?
Yeah, look, I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Can't complain. Although
You know-
I probably will soon.
Yeah, let's do a podcast about complaining.
We will.
But before we do that, we need to tell everybody about something that's really important to everybody that's listening, and that's having smooth balls. So if you go to manscaped.com and you purchase the Lawnmower 3.0 or anything on their website, and you put in our exclusive code, which is NRL, at the checkout, you get 20% off and free shipping on everything on the website. How good a deal is that?
That is fantastic. Seriously, how can you not be impressed with that deal?
It's a fantastic deal. It's one we negotiated with Manscaped, and it's one that is just everyone's been rewarded that has taken up the option to use the NRL code at checkout at manscaped.com, because they've all said not only are their balls smooth, but they're getting like way more action because of it.
What more could you want, people? I mean, yeah, man, it's just an unbelievable service that we're providing people here.
It is. And this is a service for the people that listen to our podcast. And so go there, manscaped.com, 20% off, free shipping. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee on top of that. It's just fantastic. So I recommend everyone does that.
Absolutely, likewise. Now, let's get to the news of the day.
Yes.
And I'll let you
Where
take
should we
control here,
start?
because I've been out doing un-rugby league-like things, and that's been working a commoner's job. So I'll need the professional to take over with this one.
Okay. Oh, you mean me? Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Well, the today on Wide World of Sports, which I know it sounds like something you'd hear from the 70s, but Channel
Okay.
9 thinks it's
I'm-
current.
I'm worried already, but yes, go on.
Paul Gallen has written something which is pretty impressive. I'll be honest with you.
Hang on. What did he do?
He wrote something. I feel like it was probably in crayon, but he basically said that he
Baby
doesn't
steps.
believe the Panthers will win the premiership. He just doesn't rate them, and he doesn't think that they've been tested since round 13. He's not really big on their 13 game winning streak, and he feels like any time they've taken on any of the top sides, those top sides have had players out, so it doesn't really count. And he wants to see, he believes that to win a premiership, you kind of have to have been there before, which is understandable because he was at a Cronulla side that had a long history of winning premierships when they won the premiership.
Well, even just appearing in grand finals.
Yeah.
He played in how many grand finals with the Sharks?
One.
Oh, one, that's right. And they won that one. So, yeah. Good work, Paul. You just fucking shut up, seriously.
I understand where he's coming from, though, because in only losing one game all year and being on track to be one of only 13 teams in the whole history of the competition to win 90% of their games, I just don't think it's impressive enough. I just don't see what the hype is about, you know? I need to see more out of the Panthers. I need to see them beat the Roosters with no injuries at all. I need to see them beat the Storm with no injuries at all. I need to see them beat the Parramatta Eels.
There's a lot of people out there knocking the Panthers at the moment for some reason, probably just jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
You will never please them.
No.
And the problem is every single team has lost games during this period that Penrith had this winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
Every team's lost games in that period, except Penrith.
Mm-hmm.
How come none of those teams are getting the same excuses?
I really don't know.
And this is the thing that's stupid. I mean, you can only come up again. Penrith don't fucking select their opposition. They don't select when they play them. They don't select who plays for them. They don't go out and injure and suspend players the week before that they play them. you can only come up against what's in front of you, and they've been convincingly beating every team that's been put before them.
Even the Storm, when they come up against the Storm, it was like, oh, okay, let's see how the Panthers go. And this is earlier in the year. And they put it on the Storm, and it was like, wow, that was impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. Penrith fans should probably just sit back and go, you know what? I'm happy if people want to write us off. It takes a lot of pressure off the team.
Mm-hmm.
But how can you knock that record? One loss all year.
Mm. Yeah, you just can't. And, you know,
When was their last game where it was decided by less than 6 points?
That's a good question.
Their draw. The draw with Newcastle in round 3 is the only time they've had a game this year that was decided by less than 6 points.
Wow. And on top of that, they had that ridiculous run where they didn't let the opposition score in the first 20 minutes of, like, what was it, 8 straight games or 9 straight games?
Yeah. I mean, no opposition team has scored 3 tries against them since round 9 when Cronulla put 24 on them. And that was their second worst defensive effort. And Cronulla and Penrith scored 56 that day anyway. But yeah, since then, Cowboys scored 10, Titans 14, Manly 12, Canberra 12, Warriors 12, Cronulla 12, Tigers 6, Brisbane 12, Parramatta 2.
Yeah. And like the game against Parramatta, they strangled Parramatta for 2 halves of football. It was crazy.
They destroyed their souls.
They really did. And on top of that, it's like the longest winning streak in the club's history. It's the longest winning streak at home in the club's history. They're on track to do something historic, even if they don't win a game in the finals. It's like, what are they supposed to do?
They're coming up against, the next 2 games are against teams that have been trying.
Mm-hmm.
There's no lack of effort there, but they do lack quite a bit of class.
Yeah.
And I suspect Penrith will respect them and probably not run away with the games, but would win easily against the Cowboys and then the Bulldogs. It'll be second half runaways sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that Cowboys medal last week, they got destroyed by Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Penrith's going to do the same thing. The Bulldogs, the defense is probably a little bit more stubborn, but their attack is so average.
It really is. And can you imagine their attack against, this Panthers defense, which is pretty ridiculous at the moment?
Yeah. So they're going to finish the season with 18 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, which is bloody impressive. Yeah. That's how I see it anyway.
And the other thing is too, like this weekend, they smashed the Eels. And like when I say smash the Eels, it's not like they scored 40 points against them, but by the end of the game, the Eels just had nothing at all. And that's a top 4 side, right? And then we saw the Roosters play against the Knights, and the Roosters really should have put 50 on the Knights, and they didn't. They allowed the Knights to score a lot of points.
They weren't far off.
I know. But...
Okay, this is the thing, okay. And I think it's something that I don't think people are noticing too much at the moment. I think the Roosters are coasting, and I think against the Knights, they decided to go from second to third gear.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they've got more in their tank.
They let in a lot of points, though.
They do. And that's mostly because once they get out to that big lead, they do have a habit of switching off for 10, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And when a team puts 1 or 2 tries on pretty quickly, they go, oh, shit, fucking wake up again. And then they put another few tries on, and they just... And that's just a lapse of concentration and probably a little bit too much cockiness. But I still think their attack is pretty bloody... I rate their attack probably better than any other teams in the comp, purely because there's so many different ways they can go with their attack. There's so many different ways they can score points. There's so many different players they can score points off. That makes them such a handful. And I would not be surprised at all if the grand final this year is Penrith versus the Roosters.
See, I feel as though the other team to beat, I think the team for the Panthers to beat's the Storm. And for me personally, I think the Storm's attack, I was watching the Storm against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys it's not a great team for to line up against, because their defense can be terrible at times. And the Cowboys scored a lot of points against the Storm too, which I didn't think was great for the Storm. But the Storm's attack is just so structured and so beautiful to watch.
It is,
And
mind you. The problem they had though in that game against the Cowboys is when things don't quite stick, they blow a lot of chances, and they would have blown probably 4 or 5 chances just down that left edge. I mean, they could have put 50 on against the Cowboys there. They were looking so ominous to put up a big score and didn't even get to 40.
yeah, and that, like, to me, that was
To me, that's the worry.
Yeah, that is a worry. And I feel as though Craig Bellamy, I didn't see him in the press conference, but I feel as though that game would have really pissed him off because they really should have been able to just destroy the Cowboys, and they didn't. And the weird thing is that you'll still see people in the media saying, well, the Roosters amazing, the Storm amazing. But, the Panthers are not convinced. And it's what do you need to see, man?
Yeah, so I'm going to preempt the criticism of Penrith for the next 2 games. So they're going to come against the Cowboys and go, yeah, but you know what? Even though they beat the Cowboys 70 points to nil, Cowboys were without Michael Morgan, they were without Jason Taumalolo. What can you expect? And then when they beat the Bulldogs 90-0, but they didn't have Kieran Foran.
Yeah.
They've had their coaching problems this year, as have the Cowboys. It's not, they weren't playing these teams in the best of spirit. And their seasons were over, so they weren't going to try. There you go.
Yeah,
I've written those headlines already.
As I said to Nadine, I think I said it while I was at the game, actually. I am more than happy to hear all the criticism about the Panthers and why they're not the real deal while I'm watching them going down Mulgoa Road in a premiership parade.
Exactly.
So, and we've talked about it before. It does, like, Panthers fans are so happy with what they're seeing right now. None of this criticism is really affecting us at all. We're just like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah. It's and it's good because even though they're sitting on top of the ladder, clearly, and on this great winning streak, people still aren't seeing them as a premiership heavyweight at the moment, and that's good news for Penrith because it means they can just coast on through.
Yeah, exactly.
All the pressure is going to be on the Storm and the Roosters because they're the 2 teams that people have got the they've got all the tickets, I guess, on making it to the grand final.
Mm-hmm. I think even the Eels to a certain extent as well, because
I think that's not just the game against Penrith, although I think that pretty much solidified it. But I think they've been fading for a few weeks now. I'm sure Gallen would agree with me on that one.
Well, who knows? When was the last time? Well, Parramatta. I mean, they haven't been in a grand final for a while.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's weird. I don't know how you could be like, how you could earn money to analyse the game and look at this season and not say there's at least 3 teams who are above everyone else. And I think on their day, any of them could win the grand final. But I think of the 3 teams, the one that is set up the best right now, you got to say it's Penrith. They've got few injuries to deal with. I feel like they've got better depth than all the other ones. They haven't got the experience. That's definitely against them. But, they're on a winning streak that's been going for a few months now. It's like, what more can they do?
Yeah. Look, and Parramatta, man, their form in the last several weeks has been really average.
Mm-hmm.
When they beat the Cowboys 40-odd something to 4 or whatever in round 8, that was when people went, that came after they beat the Raiders by 1 point. They beat Penrith 2 weeks before that. They had lost to the Roosters before that, and that was their first loss of the year. But that was kind of the point where everyone's going, Parramatta's going to be the big shot. Then they had that tough win against Newcastle. They were sitting on top of the ladder at that stage. They'd won 8 of 9 games. Then they got beat by a struggling Manly.
Mm-hmm.
Then they beat the Tigers, not convincingly. They barely beat the Bulldogs by 2. They barely beat Cronulla by 2. Then they lost to the Dragons by 2.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's going on? Like, they're winning games, but they're nearly losses. The wins are so average and against pretty poor opposition. Then they beat Melbourne 14-0 and go, okay, maybe they found their mojo. And then they got dicked by South. and then they struggled to beat the Warriors, and then they just got hammered by Penrith, and they're just so inconsistent. And they've got two really tricky games to round out the year. Games they should win by 40 odd each.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Brisbane this week, and Brisbane over the last 2 or 3 weeks have been improving.
Yeah.
And then they've got the Tigers in the last round, who are they're just an awkward fucking team.
Yeah.
Not just as a fan of them to watch, because you look at them every game, you go, okay, we're going to lose this game, but we could win it by 40 as well, or we might just come back from 30 points down and win it in the last 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They're a horrible team to play because you don't know what the hell you're going to get out of them. You don't know what's going to turn up, and that's the problem with those last 2 games. So Brisbane are trying to avoid the wooden spoon. Tigers are trying to maintain 9th place. So they've got stuff to play for. It's a tricky one. I don't know how Parra's going to go in the last round. Last 2 rounds anyway. So, plus they've got the Roosters and the Raiders beneath them that are, I think they're both beneath them, trying to take over their spot in the top 4. The Roosters are already up there.
Yeah, the Roosters passed them. So it looks like the first week the Panthers would play the Eels, and then the Storm will play the Roosters.
Canberra's got Warriors and Cronulla in their last 2 games. So if Parramatta don't watch themselves there and they drop one of those games against Brisbane or the Tigers, I don't think they will. But if they do, Canberra's going to overtake them, and Parramatta will be sitting 5th.
Yeah, and as a Panthers fan, I don't mind taking on the Raiders or the Eels. It's not a problem, either one.
I think as a Panthers fan, you wouldn't really give a shit who you come up against now.
Yeah.
You've beaten everyone.
Yeah.
Just make sure that the team you come up against is injured the week before and they lose their star players.
Yeah.
Just keep doing that.
I think that if we play the grand final, right, we should do a courtesy to the other team and just let them get everyone back that they might have injured. Like, put the game off a few weeks and then just let them and when they're ready to go, when everything's fine with them, then we play the game.
Would you also agree to not pay the referees as well?
How dare you?
So you won't let the game be 100% even.
Well, the referees deserve to be paid well. Hey, by the way, when you're at the game with that 6 again thing, it's the worst sound in the whole world when you're at the game. On the TV, it sounds like a little bell going off.
Yeah.
But when you're at the game, it just sounds like feedback through a giant speaker that just drills into your soul.
I didn't realise they actually did it at the game as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that is annoying.
That it really, really is. And like the first time it went off, I didn't realise what it was. I thought that somebody at the Panthers had accidentally dropped the microphone and it was just feedback. And then I realised that's the 6 again sound. Man, it's loud and it is rotten. They need to do something about that.
That's bad. I even hate the sound effect on the TV.
It's just a weird one. On the TV, it just sounds to me like there's a tram going past or something.
Yeah, I'm sitting there and I hear it on the TV and I go, I didn't know this game was at Belmore.
Mm-hmm.
Every game's at Belmore on there. The fucking train's going past. But anyway, so what other news have we got there?
Well, we're only a couple weeks out from the final starting, and I think what you want to see is consistency from the referees and things like that. So Graham Annesley is going to fuck with the bunker. Because there was apparently a try, I didn't see it, that should have been allowed by Lindsay Collins. And Graham Annesley said that would be a try every day of the week. And so he's going to play with the protocols in the bunker because he just can't help himself. And my thing is, if the referees are this much of a problem, I think Graham Annesley should sack the person that oversees the referees, which is Graham Annesley.
That, or Graham Annesley referees every game, and he operates the bunker in every game as well at the same time.
That would be great.
He could just run around with an iPad.
Well, he's never made a wrong decision this year. Like when he does his PowerPoint presentation, he gets all of the decisions right. Even like I know it's 3 or 4 days after most of the games, but he's not got one wrong since. Just ask him.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. And look, he can also be the timekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the Rolex. Just check that shit out. Fuck yeah. Got a Rolex. Did you know he's got a Rolex?
You know
check
what?
out his watches, man.
It's funny because he pulls his sleeve all the way up so you can see that Rolex.
Oh yeah.
Didn't you used to be part of like the New South Wales government or something? He used to be a politician for like about 5 minutes.
Did he now?
I feel like he did. I feel like he was a politician for a few minutes, and then
he was too. He
Yeah,
represented Miranda in the Liberal Party. He's a right winger.
You know what that means, don't you? He's not a left winger.
Well, that's right. Yeah. You can't pass to the right.
Yeah. Yeah, I just hate every time he opens his mouth. I just hate it.
Yeah. Well, it's from the Shire.
Yeah, well, that's always a problem. There's some more stuff that I know you're going to love this. This is something that really is... I don't think you'll see a downside to this.
Okay.
Joel Kane put out a tweet earlier today.
Yeah.
And this is his thoughts about how he said primary business, NRL, is entertainment. Now, I know that's not a structured sentence, but, it's only Twitter. And then he says thoughts, and this is his idea. The top 6 all have a week off post the regular season.
Why?
Because primary business, NRL, is entertainment.
Okay, so the best way to have entertainment is to not have anything on. Go on.
Primary business entertainment. Okay, so the top 6 teams don't play. I like this idea. And then 7 plays 10. And then 8 plays 9.
You see what he's doing here?
Mm-hmm.
He's just trying to find a way to get the West Tigers in the finals.
I know, right? So he goes, the 7th play 10th, and then he goes, the winner through to play the 6th team. And then he says 8th versus 9th, and the winner plays the 5th team. Right? And then he says, for example, the Bunnies and Knights in a battle for the week off and a home final. Every team down to the Dragons in 13th place is still alive.
No.
But
you know what this sounds like?
Mm.
Sounds like something that the head honchos hanging around the vending machine in England would have come up with.
I reckon, that where they'd be standing around it, drinking probably vodka out of it, and saying, primary business Super League is entertainment.
Where's the Yorkie bar?
Yeah.
Right, now we've got to be more entertaining. How do we be entertaining? Oh, that's right. We take all of the entertaining teams out of the competition for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we watch all the unentertaining teams that have got no consistency then play for a spot to play against the good sides who have all had time to rest.
Yeah.
To get better. And this is a problem that they have with the Super 8s. I've said it before and I'll say it again, is that they didn't take away the competition points.
No.
So the teams that came top, and they may have come top and, finished competition like 4-6 competition points clear of everybody else. They kept that lead, which meant the next 7 or 6 games that they played completely bloody redundant because the top team then had to lose pretty much nearly all of their games in order for another team to jump them on the ladder. But even then, they're not going to fall out of the top 4, so they're still in the finals race anyway. So what's the fucking point?
I don't understand if you look at this year, and we've said it's down to 3 teams. And if somebody wins out from out of there, they've had some ridiculously good run, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and I feel as though the Knights and the Sharks they're not even top 8 quality, even though they're in the top 8. It's like they're no chance at all. So it's really a 6-team competition if you're stretching it.
Well, look, let's go with Joel Kane's idea, okay?
Okay.
Using the current top 10.
Okay.
So what's he saying would happen in the first game? 10th would play who?
Let me go back to it. Okay. I got to go back to it. Hang on.
Yeah.
I got rid of it because
I'm
I
sure
really wanted to.
I'm sure we could destroy this very quickly.
So the 7th place team.
Yeah.
So
Newcastle.
They'd play the 10th place team.
Manly. They'd beat Manly easy.
Yeah, very easy. Then the 8th place team would play the 9th place team.
Tigers. Cronulla would win that.
Yep. And then
we've just achieved nothing out of that process.
Nothing at all, yeah. And then I guess they would go on to play a normal top 8 final series.
Right. So all we're doing is making teams 7 and 8 play an extra game and ruin any chance they may have of going on a bit of a run because they've got to play more games than anybody else in the top 8.
Yeah.
So they're not being rewarded for finishing in the top 8. They're being penalised.
How about this? The 6th place team gets the exact same advantage as the 1st place team because they get a week off.
Yeah, that's genius.
Yeah, that's brilliant, hey?
I don't know why there's this... I think there was a story along these lines. Was it last year? We might have discussed it where they were talking about... It might have been the start of this year.
Mm.
They were talking about having a top 10 sort of thing. And it was a similar sort of structure to this. It was all about trying to have as many teams still vying for a position in the finals as possible at the end of the year, which the ultimate goal of that is more eyes on the game, bigger crowds, more eyes, all that sort of stuff. It keeps more teams in play. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. But there's got to be a point where you go, you know what? We've also got to have some sort of integrity in the competition.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're going to be completely honest, a top 8 is too much.
Yeah. You could probably make it. You could make it a top 6 very easy.
Yeah. Top 6 would be fine.
Mm.
But there's not enough games there. But with the top 6, you could have 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, 1 or 2 get the week off.
But can you imagine how much more entertaining the NRL would be if this week you still knew that the Dragons could make the finals? I just think that would be just immense.
And the Titans and the Warriors.
Yeah, that would be just incredible.
Along with Manly and the Tigers.
Yeah. All these shit teams.
All those teams that deserve to be in the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And at some point it's like, well, let's just go the extra step and play a 26-round competition and then just have 16 teams in the final. Like, why the fuck not?
And then have a Super 8s.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What we could do... Okay, and here's my novel idea, because, I'm not going to sit there and whinge the whole time. Let's come up with a different idea, and that is, at the end of the regular season, the top 8 then take part for the premiership.
Yeah. And
the bottom 8 then take part in maybe for the JJ Gildan Shield, instead of that going to the minor premier. And that can be the plate or something like that. They've got the plate final for all the also-rans.
Yeah.
And you'd have, the West Tigers would be the minor premiers in the bottom 8.
I see what you did.
Ah. See?
You just took the Panthers, JJ Gilton and Shield and gave it to the fucking Tigers.
Well, let's be honest. Penrith haven't done anything to deserve it this year because all they've done is had a soft run. They've played against a whole heap of shit teams.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even as Buzz Rothfield said the other day, it's not like they've been travelling all over the world either.
That's right. But the Tigers, who have travelled the second least amount of distance, they deserve it.
Yeah.
And they're ninth.
Oh, I could look, I'd share it with you. I'd be willing to give you one trophy and we have the other one.
Fair enough. Let's do it. How about when you go through and you play against, let's be honest, it'll be St. Helens in the World Club Challenge and you beat them because that's what St. Helens do. They lose in that World Club Challenge.
Yeah, they love runners-up trophies.
You can just give us that dinky die trophy because let's be honest, that's a lesser quality trophy than the NRL Premiership one.
If you had to describe what the World Club Challenge trophy looked like right now, could you?
No.
No, neither could I.
No
I feel
idea.
like it might be a cup.
A cup?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it might look like something that you'd see in an F1 race.
Yeah, like a swirly sort of thing.
Yeah. They've got some of the worst trophies you'll ever see. They've got one that's just an ape
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think there's another one which is just a tyre.
I like the A-League trophy because it looks like a silver toilet seat.
Maybe we could have one that comes from some other different part of the bathroom. Maybe they could have one that looks like a shower head, a soap dish. Have the golden soap dish.
I think that the detachable shower head should be one for the women's competition. But what was there was the worst trophy maybe ever is that golden boot one, the new golden boot one.
Oh, the silver golden boot.
Yeah, the silver one.
The silver golden boot that's made of brass. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, genius.
And it looks like no fucking football boot any football player would wear.
No.
It looks like an op shop boot. Like, you go into an op shop and somebody, put in a pair of 40-year-old footy boots and they didn't chuck them ones out.
Yeah. Oh, man. Sorry, I've just been a little bit distracted because I just got an email and it's a very, very interesting one on history of rugby league. It's a program from when Italy played Australia in 1960.
Oh, okay.
And I've never seen that before. So, yeah. Apologies
That's
for my amateur performance right there.
No, that's cool.
But so what else did we have going on in the world? Because that threw me. That threw me so much. I stopped wanting to be involved in it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think we can officially put Joel Kane in the group of real rugby league thunkers.
Yeah, although I do rate him ahead of Matthew John still.
Yeah, but I tell you what, he's pushing him.
Wow.
Oh, that reminds me. Thursday night football, right?
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Thursday night football. And a player gets sent off from one team, and then a player gets sent off from both teams. So we've got one team down to 12, one team down to 11.
This is Tigers versus South.
Yeah. They go to the sideline, and Andrew John says, "You know what?
No.
The field dimensions haven't changed in 100 years of rugby league, and the players have got bigger and faster. Maybe we should look at playing 11 players aside anyway. Watch how the game will open up right now." I didn't hear from Andrew Johns again for the rest of the game, hey?
No, because the game didn't open up.
No.
If he wants to watch football with 11 aside, he can go and watch the fucking soccer.
Yes, there is that. I was...
Which two players are you going to take off the field?
Well, here's the thing. This is the best part about this argument. People say, well, obviously, you just take 2 forwards off of each team.
Yeah, that'll go well.
Okay. So every single team in the competition says, we promise that we will only get rid of 2 forwards. So we will never, ever again pick 2 big dudes again.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen, is it?
No.
What'll happen is they'll just take 2 centres out and you'll just have 2 kick-outs playing in centre.
Yeah.
That's what'll happen.
But it does open up some possibilities. I mean, what if we changed the dimensions of the field? What if we played on an oval? So as you got close to the try line, right, the try line's shorter. But when you got in the middle of the field, it was really wide open, lots of space.
Maybe as you play on this oval, as your team advances downfield and the oval gets, the ground gets narrower,
yes,
more players have to come off the field.
Well, what was the one where...
you can be 13 aside at halfway, but when you go the next 10 metres down, you've got to go to 12 aside, and then it's got to be 11 aside, then 10 aside, then 9 aside. And as you're coming retreating back up, you get to add players to your team.
And it just and then it just eliminates down to 1 player. So let's get rid of the oval. Let's make it a diamond.
Yeah, exactly.
We're refining this right now. This is great.
We're taking this idea to a whole new fucking plane.
But in the one-on-one contest at the end of the diamond, you can't name a forward.
No, you can't name a forward.
No.
You have to name your slowest back.
And they can only be... They have to be a certain height, but it's got to be a short height because we don't want to eliminate the little men from the game, Andrew.
No, that's right. So we need a short, slow winger or centre. Oh, yeah, just a short, slow back.
Yeah.
And every player will be tested for their speed over 100 metres. And if you run it in, let's say, around about 15 seconds over 100 metres, okay, and you're a back, then you're in.
So,
but if you're quicker than 15 seconds over 100 metres, then you're too quick. So we need the slowest of the slowest outside backs possible.
Yeah. So basically what we're saying is that every single team needs to start recruiting like the West Tigers recruit outside backs.
Absolutely. Blake Green is going to become an absolute gun.
Oh, where's Matt Utai? Surely he can still run.
He'll come back.
Yeah.
Pat Richards will be back.
Oh, man. Can you imagine?
He had the longest, slowest stride of any winger I've ever seen. It was glorious.
John Wilson.
Ooh, Johnny Whitelegs.
Yeah, he'd be great.
Yeah, Daniel Fitzhenry.
Yep.
He spent most of his time running around in circles. He was like a dog chasing his tail.
Fucking Joel Kane could come back, hey?
Oh, yeah. What? You know who the absolute gun would be, though?
Who?
Luke Cavell.
Oh, well, he'd be like the best player in the game.
He would.
Because he'd be scoring the tries and he'd
kicking
be kicking the goals. Yeah.
Yeah. And he could do 100 metres in about 19 minutes.
If he starts now...
he might be finished before we finish this episode.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so Andrew Johns, I'd like... Man, that's some special shit right there.
Yeah.
There was also some news today that the State of Origin games will be played at Adelaide Oval, or whatever they call the new one. And then we're going to have a game at Suncorp and a game at ANZ Stadium.
Yeah, that sounds fair enough.
Yeah.
Do they know which, like, is the game at Adelaide game 1, 2, or 3?
I didn't see. I looked on the NRL website and it wasn't there. I saw some tweets about it during the game.
I've got a feeling that they still haven't decided on which games go where yet.
See, I think that what they should have done is looked at playing a game in Perth, a game in Adelaide, and I don't know what you do with the third one. Just don't play it because New South Wales will have won by then.
Where could you put the third one? Probably the third one in... put it in Sydney. Because, New South Wales are going to need to do another parade.
Yeah.
May as well save the travel and they can just go on the parade as soon as they finish the game. I think that works.
I reckon so too. It's weird that we're seeing some Origin talk now. I mean, it's been going on for a while, but here we go. State of Origin dates revealed. Let's have a look here.
Okay. So the other thing we could do is just put all 3 Origin games on in Queensland.
Yeah.
When they've got the AFL Grand Final on and just completely decimate their crowds.
Can you imagine?
That'd be glorious.
That would be hilarious. Okay, Adelaide Oval will reportedly host the first match of the 2020 State of Origin series.
I like that.
Yeah, so do I. I'm glad that they get it. It's a 53,000 capacity. It'll be interesting to see how many people they allow in there.
Well, they've been COVID-free for a while now, so they might open it up. You never know, because South Australians haven't had much sport this year.
Mm-hmm.
They might turn out in droves for that one. It might actually turn out to be a pretty smart ploy by the NRL, given that there's been next to no AFL there, so they're going to be starved of sport. They might just turn around and go, fuck it, we'll just watch this because it's sport.
Now, a little bit of devastating news I've just found out. This was reported by James Hooper.
Oh, well, we're going to have to fucking scratch all of that then. I dare say the first game's going to be in Tunisia.
Yep.
Second game will be in Azerbaijan. Third one might be in Russia somewhere. Townsville. Cairns.
Oh, man.
Cairns.
I miss Cairns.
Cairns.
So yeah, that's a shame. I thought that was something for a while, but it's not.
Rookie error.
It really was. I apologise to our listeners. I fucked up.
There we go. So this is what happens when I'm not so steering the ship.
Yeah. I'm really just winging it here.
Yeah, there's no checks and balances being done.
No.
So if I was doing any in the first place.
So, Josh Maguire, did you see when Josh Maguire got sent to the bin?
Yeah, he was blowing up and having a whinge at the referee about something.
Well,
The ref just said, fuck off. And that was it.
yeah.
And I went, fair enough.
So, apparently on the microphone, he was heard to say, it says the referee's mic later it revealed it, that
Delayed broadcast.
they talked to the referee's microphone and it let them know. The referee's mic later revealed that the Queensland Maroon star vile words were, fuck me, cunt. That sounds like an invitation.
It does. So that's what he said.
Yeah, that's what got him sent off. Or sent to the bin for 10 anyway.
Wow. Can I say something in Josh Maguire's defence?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he can string 3 words together.
That's a good point. He's really stretching his vocabulary at 3.
Yeah, and I don't think he knows any words other than swear words.
Yeah.
So I don't think he said me.
Do you reckon that, you know how Groot out of Guardians of the Galaxy, all he can say is, I am Groot, but it covers everything he needs to say. It's just the way he says it. Do you reckon that's the same way with Josh Maguire?
He's just rocking around going, fucking cunt.
Yeah,
that's all he does.
Fucking cunt. But he says it, and it's like when he's asking a question, he's like, fucking cunt?
Yeah, he uses it for everything.
Yeah. Gets super excited. He's like, when he eats a Big Mac, he's like, fucking cunt.
It just doesn't stop. He'd just be doing that every time.
When he answers the phone, fucking cunt.
That's just the whole conversation over and over and over again.
Yeah.
People just going, yeah, you know what? I'll just send you a text.
Yeah. How's your knee feeling today, Josh? Fucking cunt.
That's him. So yeah, I don't know. Seems a bit rough to be binned for that, but at the same time, I don't really care if the referee thinks that deserves to be in the bin, then I'm fine with it.
Look, if it was any other player, I'd be, I think it was a bit harsh, but Josh Maguire is just a fucking cunt.
There you go. That's an easy lap, that one.
That was easy, I have to. And that's pretty much all of the big news that's going on in the last couple of days. And it's women in league round this round. And it's not getting very much airplay at the moment, the women in league round. I feel like it's been a bit of a afterthought by the NRL.
Well, it is Monday.
Yeah.
Guaranteed it'll pick up a bit as the week goes on. But, yeah, we might do an episode on on something to do with the women in rugby league later on this week.
That would be very cool. And we'll get women on, of course, this week. I dare say that there's no rugby league podcast that has as many women on them as our podcast does. We love talking to women within the game and giving them a voice. And I think that we do a really good job of it. And it's not like you and me sit here and say, we've got to get some women on. We just get people that we want to talk to and are interested to talk to on here. And it just so happens that a lot of them are women. So yeah, that's pretty cool that our podcast is leading the way, I dare say.
And let's be honest, I mean, they probably just want to talk to us because they've heard about the Lawnmower 3.0.
Well, why not? It
has this impact.
It really does. That's why everyone should get one.
Exactly. The results are there.
Yeah.
We won't show you because we don't want to embarrass you or anything like that. But the results are there.
Hey, by the way, the Ken Stevens medal nominees are out.
Oh, let's go through that. I don't mind. This is a bit of something positive to end the night on.
Okay. So, and I don't know what these people have done to be put up for the medals, but I've got the list here. So here we go. Adam Elliott.
Okay. Well, he's got a fair bit to do after his shenanigans a few years ago.
I wasn't going to mention that, man, but seriously.
Good on him for getting out there and getting nominated, because it means he's done an awful lot of work in the community to sort of repay that trust. So good work.
That's true. Cole Felt, probably for services to
opposition wingers.
Yeah. To Michael Sivo's try scoring record. Reed Mahoney, he got one. He got nominated. Connor Watson, Martin Tapau, James Tarmo, Cody Walker, Angus Crichton, Jared Crocker, Ronaldo Matalino, Chris Lawrence, Dale Copley, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and Dale Finucane. So
it's not a bad group. I know a fair few of those people have been doing a fair bit of stuff in the community for a while. Did you say Tamo's name?
Yeah, Tarmo's there. Yep.
He's been a big advocate for doing this sort of community work for quite a while. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes up top of the list there. Yeah, good list.
Yeah, it's a pretty good list. It's cool that they do this.
I thought Joel Thompson might have been there. He's been doing some really important stuff too in the community and some pretty tough stuff to talk about as well. And he's been doing it for quite a while. So it's not something he did just 1 year to try and win the award. He's been doing it for quite a while. But he's love his work.
I tell you who else has been as well is Gavin Badger. He's been talking about a lot of things that he's been through in the past. Some
really sensitive and very heavy stuff. I mean, child abuse and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so I think he should be up for it as well. I don't know if referees can be up for it, but I think that he would deserve to be up for it as well.
Absolutely, yeah. That can't be easy to talk about any time, let alone on the same sort of platform that he has with a lot of other NRL players. And that's I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I guess you've got to be nominated by somebody for it, because I'm surprised Joel Thompson's not there too, because he, as you say, he does a lot of work and he's done it for years, many years. When he signed for St. Helens, and I had St. Helens fans saying to me what tell us about Joel Thompson, and I said he's a pretty solid first grader, but he'll be a real fan favourite because he's approachable. He's not one of these players that sort of goes off and you don't hear from them. He's approachable. He's pretty good in front of a microphone, and he really gets involved in the community. So, I'm surprised he's not there.
Yeah. Absolute bloody hard worker too. You just need one of those absolute grafters in your team.
Well, I've always thought if we talk to a player about what it's like to be an NRL footballer, he would be the first one I would talk to, because talking to a superstar, there's some players who they get out of bed and they could play a great game of footy and earn $800,000 a year, And then there's players that have to keep working at it, that they've had times where they've been considered fringe first graders. They've had other times where they've been starters. They've had to deal with injuries and stuff. And I think that he would be really interesting to talk to, because I think he is in that sort of area as a player. But yeah, and he's off to St. Helens next year. But I think that the more interesting story that you could hear from a first grader is the player that really has to work hard to keep their place.
Yeah. And earns their place and holds it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I fully agree on that. I've always rated him. I have a lot of time for what he's done as a player and the stuff he does off the field. You just can't hate on that bloke.
No, you can't. And that's pretty much all of the news. Boyd Cordner will be playing this week, which I guess is good news.
Yeah, God, he's suffered a few head knocks.
Well, when he got that knock on the weekend, and it was a fair knock to his head. He basically headbutted the ground trying to score a try. And he's had a bunch of concussions this year, and they said he probably could have gone back on because he passed his HIA, but they were cautious with him, which is good. It's a worry though when you get those players where they start to get the wobbly boots on with less and less of a concussive hit. That's what really worries me. Like Yo is another one at the Panthers. Every so often he'll cop a knock, and it's like, oh, that seemed not too big of a hit for him to be in the state that he's in.
Yeah, I worry about both those players. Every time I see him taken on the line, because that's the thing is, neither of them do a soft hit up.
No.
Neither of them go into a tackle and they're the second man in.
Mm-hmm.
They go and they play that game hard and they play it, front on.
Mm-hmm.
And you just know every time you see him going there, all it takes is a little bit of something to go wrong and they're going to be KO'd again.
Yeah.
And knowing that Cordner had been out injured for quite a while, and as Fox Sports told us on a loop prior to the game that his cousin had passed away.
Yeah.
That week, and they kept the camera on him for the whole minute.
It was so sad that they do that to him.
That was perverse.
Yeah, my Twitter lit up with people that were very angry about that. When I was watching it, I can understand them showing him, but then to keep the camera on him that whole time, and it was just so sad and so devastating. And it was, he's a real person that really did lose a family member in tragic circumstances, and that anybody would think that was a good idea to keep the camera on him the whole minute. I just felt so sad for him. He didn't deserve that.
Nah, it took me back actually to a few years back when Robbie Farah's, I think it was mother, passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened, it must have only been like a day or two before the game. So Farah obviously missed the game, but Benji Marshall played anyway. And as everyone knows, Benji and Robbie had always been close, but the media always used to push these stories about there was some sort of conflict between the two when there just wasn't.
Yeah.
And they put that camera fair on Benji pretty quickly there after they saw that Benji was crying during the minute silence for her. And they just hung it on him for quite a while. And I went, that kind of reminded me a bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you doing? Well, we know that he's a bit emotional about it all. I don't get why we need to have this intense zoomed in on him and hoping that there might be some sort of tears. And to top it off, with the Boyd Cordner one, what was it the next day? They put out the video on Twitter of the minute silence in their footage, completely looking at Boyd Cordner, and they put in there the caption, "Well, this was tough to watch." So I was like, why the fuck record it then?
Yeah.
If it's tough to watch, why fucking highlight it during the game and then fucking repeat it on Twitter?
Yeah. It was not right. It was not right at all.
It's perverse. It was gross.
I think sometimes it really was. I think sometimes people forget that rugby league players are people, and because we see them they're larger than life. They go out and they play this game that we all dream of playing at this level, and they do things we marvel at every weekend. Even the terrible players are great athletes, and we see the media talk them up and drag them down and everything, and they get turned into caricatures sometimes, and a lot of the time it gets forgotten that they're just dudes. They're dudes that are out there playing a game that if they weren't earning as much money as they were earning, they'd probably be playing A grade down at the local park because they love playing the game. And where's the humanity in showing something like that? Where's I can understand where maybe you see that and you don't know what else to show, but I don't know. I just thought it was in very poor taste, and I felt very, very sad for Boyd Cordner, and his family would have seen that as well, and they just wouldn't have needed to see that. I just thought it was very sad.
Yeah, no, it was heartwarming to see so many fans, and a lot of fans, showing their displeasure towards Fox Sports over that, because that was just very cringeworthy. And to top it off, at the end of the game, they're talking to James Tedesco, and they'd revealed that he'd signed this multi-million-dollar deal to stay at the Roosters for, what was it, 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, they called it a lifetime deal and said it was 5 years. It's like, geez.
But they were talking about how much he'd earned to him And then Michael Ernst was talking about how, it'll be Teddy Shout then tonight. And I was thinking, going, that was just as cringy. Imagine talking to someone about how much money they're earning and then saying, you better buy us all a drink then. Just, fucking don't.
Yeah, it's weird. It's did we talk about the other week when the Panthers, after they'd won the game, and then Channel 9 started trying to show the players Josh Mansour, who had his T-shirt off. He'd posted a picture on Instagram, and they were showing it to Nathan Cleary and another player. I can't remember who the other player was, and it was like, what are you doing? Like, you've got the stars of the game here to talk to, and you're trying to do this goofy stuff with them, and it's like, this is why the players don't like talking to the media. Yeah.
There's no respect.
No.
Not even at the most common, basic, obvious level. There's just none there. They're just pawns to be, used to advertise whatever it is that Fox Sports wants to advertise, or Channel 9.
Yeah.
It's a bit sick.
Yeah, I find it strange. I just find it strange. And, if you got a chance to interview the stars of any game, whatever game you're watching, might be bloody the Broncos versus Titans, I just think you'd use the time wisely.
To talk to them about what they do for a living. And not about how much money they've now got and whether they're going to be buying the beers or not.
Yeah.
It's James Tedesco. He's regarded as the best player in the world at the moment by quite a lot of people. And you want to talk about how much money he's got. That's just sick.
It's weird how some people focus on the money too that players earn. Like,
yeah, well, you get those people always saying, we should have all players' salaries public. No. I know that other sports do it. Doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah, I agree.
At what point does a player get some of their own privacy?
Yeah, like,
why do we need to know how much money they earn?
The only thing I would say, right, is that when it comes to player salaries, like, I don't care what they earn, but there's certain players that I hope they earn in the millions because they deserve it. And I used to say it about Darren Lockyer, because Queensland Rugby League used to get so much out of just Darren Lockyer being Darren Lockyer. And he deserved to get a certain amount of money just for being Darren Lockyer. Tedesco's the same. He's such a great player. I hope he's earning, I'd love it if somebody said, you know what, James Tedesco's earning $5 million next year. I'd be like, that's fucking awesome. Good luck to him.
Yeah, look, I'm not opposed to players earning as much money as they can. I mean, they're only going to have, the good players are going to get 10 years to earn quite a fair bit of money. For a lot of it's going to be for the rest of their lives. The elite will get 15 years plus to do that, and there's not many players that fit into those two categories. So yeah, they need to earn as much money as they can. Sometimes it goes against what your club wants, and it may seem like we're being hypocritical, given that I've spent quite a lot of time whinging about how much money the Tigers have spent on certain players. That's not those players' fault though.
No,
that's the club's fault for investing so much money in players that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, and look,
those players are entitled to that money.
We've been consistent on that. We're like the West Tigers are paying Moses Mbai like $800,000 or $900,000 a year. Man, if he can get $2 million a year out of him, do it, Moses. Right?
Absolutely.
But you can criticise the way that a club manages their salary cap, and I think that that's fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, never going to begrudge a player trying to earn as much money as they can, because a lot of them have got to, essentially got to earn around about 40 years worth of income in about 10.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. I love when you see a player that, and I think of someone like a David Fafita. I love that David Fafita, who's like 20 years old, and next year he will be making $1 million a year, playing a game that he loves playing, and he plays it damn well. He's on another level to most players. I think it's brilliant that rugby league has that opportunity there for the best players in the game. I think it's great.
It is absolutely phenomenal. Can't deny that whatsoever. And on that uplifting note, is that it for all the news?
I think so, yeah. The only other thing I saw today was that the Super League TV rights have gone out to tender. So, and I was seeing a few people online talking about who might look at picking up those rights. A few people saying that it'd be cool if someone like Amazon or YouTube picked them up. I don't see what broadcaster would be looking to reach, small towns in northern England. And this is the problem they've got over there in Super League, is that most of the teams are based in small towns in northern England and a very small part of northern England as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with those TV rights. And
you know what would help them?
Mm.
If they could get, say, a team that could, I suppose hit the American market. If they had a team like that was in the Super League.
Yeah, like a team based in North America, in a city as well.
Oh, yeah, a major city.
Yeah.
That would be a great idea. You'd think if they were smart after all this time, if they had a team like that was available, they'd put them in there when the TV rights deal was coming up. So they go, look at that. We can not just broadcast to these towns in northern England, but we can also broadcast to some major cities in France and also into the North American market.
That would be a really good idea. And you'd think that with the money that they got from those broadcasting rights, that team from North America would just pay for itself.
Yeah, pretty much. That's time for another meeting around the vending machines, I guess.
Definitely. Sounds like we need a team from Featherston.
Bring back the Rovers.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, I'm hanging out for when the Battling Bulldogs get back in.
Mate, the future is Swinton. I'm telling you. I've been saying that since the 30s.
Halifax needs to come back, and they need to come back with the name Blue Sox.
They're 100% the Blue Sox. They were so marketable.
Absolutely. Who doesn't want blue socks?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people probably got blue socks.
Just trying to think if I've got blue socks. Oh, yeah, I've got some blue socks, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a pair of blue socks.
They're white and blue, but I think they were white and blue on the Blue Sox logo too.
That's right. Well, there you go. See?
Imagine if they had enough money to actually own blue and white socks.
There you go. Look at that. See? If you could imagine that, there's a marketing thing already. Everyone's a fax fan deep down because they've all got a pair of blue socks.
How long do you reckon it will be before one of these teams starts Patreon?
You know what? If they're listening to this, I'll give them about 2 or 3 hours.
They should do it. I actually got a new Patreon supporter, hey.
Have you? I lost one, so there you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It happens. Every week, they up and down a bit.
I got Sandy is a new Patreon supporter of mine. She's putting in $5. So that's fantastic. So thank you, Sandy. And I'm up to 10 Patreon supporters now, which that's
amazing.
I'm shocked. I'm really, really shocked. Really, really shocked.
And where can people go to donate to you and make that number go up to, say, 60 or 70 odd Patreons for you?
They can go to patreon.com/League Freak. There's no space in between League and Freak. You can go there. There's a few different levels. It starts at like $3 a month, and it goes up. The last 3 tiers, the top 3 tiers, you get merch after 3 months of being signed up to them. So those tiers are a little bit more expensive, but you pick whatever you want to do. So it's and all of the money goes straight into website costs and any podcasting equipment that I've bought. If you go on there, I talk about the microphone that I brought. I've actually got a microphone stand, which is like a swing arm, but it's mostly towards the upkeep of the website.
There you go. Well, just one website.
Well, I actually, you know what? Remember, and this time last year is when you and me sat down and were like, wow, internationalRL.com's available. Oh, wow, RL World Nines is available. So all of them are popping up at the moment because I'm having a...
yes. Oh, that means we must be due for another bloody look in there and you go on another spending spree.
Yeah, pretty much. So all of them are coming up, and yeah, all of that goes towards, basically, the upkeep of all of those addresses and the websites and all the stuff. So yeah,
And
that's
that's
what
all vital stuff, that is.
it really is.
Absolutely. Now, I suppose we'll wrap this one up. You can catch us on, hey, what's that?
I was going to say, where would people go if they wanted
That's
to
it.
support the digitisation of rugby league history online?
So I was going to let you have that whole end piece all on your own. But there you go. You
I
go
like to
to,
share.
I know. Oh, I've seen. Patreon.com/RL Project.
Mhm.
You go there, and I don't have tiers. I've made it pretty simple. You go in there, you decide how much you want to donate to the Rugby League Project website. Simple as that. Got an awful lot of work coming up soon.
Mhm.
A lot of stuff that's happening in the back end, and a few little projects I'm working on the side.
Nice.
So, might with any plans, with any hope, we'll be seeing the fruits of that before the end of the year.
I know some of the things you're doing, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. So another thing I'll also mention too, it was what was it, earlier this year when the Big League magazine folded,
Mm-hmm.
and I approached Tim over at the League Unlimited website.
Mm-hmm.
Just said, I gave him my idea of a truly global rugby league program, not just one that was focused on the NRL, but one that focused on the Super League and the NRL, and talked about a few other international games and stuff like that. And I pretty much left him with it. And what he's turned out with has been pretty impressive in a short time span,
Mm-hmm.
and on next to no budget.
Yeah.
And now it's quickly becoming a very sought after commodity at the moment, especially in Australia with a lot of rugby league commentators. They love the physical program, and they're starting to print them now through Steve Mascord,
Yeah.
old rugby league journo. Probably won't like me calling him old, but there you go. You're old, Mascord. Older
You
than
old
me.
bastard.
Yeah, older than me, so there you go. That's enough. But yeah, it seems to be going pretty well. So yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to leagueunlimited.com and check it out over there. You can download it for free. So, no skin off your nose. Check it out. And all the stats in there come from Rugby League Project. So when you're donating to me on Patreon, it's helping keep that program going along as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got a kick-on effect.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's another reason to get involved.
Yeah, true. And it's like the cool thing is like trying to get as many people involved as possible. And I think that that's the way to go with everything online. I think that, you try and you don't grow a market by not growing and sharing and trying to get stuff out there. And I think that's important to do.
Absolutely. Fully agree.
Mm.
Something about boats and tides and stuff. There's an old quote about that. I don't know what it is.
Is there?
Yeah, something about, all boats rise on some tide or some shit. I don't know.
Do you remember when Bill O'Reilly was on his show and he was like, no one can explain why there's tides. The tide goes in, tide goes out. No one knows why. It's like,
Good
yeah, we
old Bill.
worked that out, Bill.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
On that note, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Fergo Freak Pod. We're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. We've got our own website, fergoandthefreak.com. You can go over there and you can send us an email via the website there. Can't they, Freaky?
Yeah, they can. We'll do another reading of all of the emails coming up this week sometime. So get to fergoandthefreak.com, go to the contact section and send us something.
Absolutely. Send us comments and we'll put them up on the website.
Mm-hmm.
We'll read them out on here. We'll make you famous. Make sure it's a 5-star one and say some nice words about us because we love that.
We really do.
And yeah, I guess on that note, catch us all later.